so that they are without excuse. So these men know the truth. They hide it from you. It's interesting, the Nazi scientists whom we took to form our rockets and create NASA, Mr. von Braun, Werner von Braun, on his tombstone, this is the man who spearheaded the agency called NASA that lies to us with all their Freemason astronauts. On his tombstone, it says Werner von Braun, and it says underneath it Psalms 19:1. He knew the firmament. And I'm going to tell you, I believe he and others had seen it. In fact, this morning I'm going to show you a picture of it from 1928. They are without excuse. They know it exists. Because that when they knew God, they glorified Him not as God, neither were thankful, but they became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools who changed the truth of God into a lie. It's flat. No, it's a ball. They know it's not a ball. The ones that are really up high up, they know it's not. I'm going to show you. The Illuminati, the Satanists, the high, the elites, they control the media and television and movies. They actually put it in their movies and just mock us. They mock us. They know the truth. It says they worship and serve the creature more than Creator, who are blessed forever. Amen. Just so you know, here's the Greek word when it says the men who hold the truth. Just so you know I'm not lying to you. What does it say here? It's the Greek word kateko, and it means to hold down, right? To hold fast, to keep, to withhold. You see that? That's from the Strong's. Now let's go to the original creation here. Genesis chapter 1. Maybe we'll go there. Here we go. Genesis 1 through 10. Let's just read it this morning. You can read it up here. Turn in your Bible if you like. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And He called the light day, and the darkness He called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. That's interesting. This is just, sun and moon and stars haven't been created yet, so that's cool. It's God's light. I'm going to show you some interesting things about light. And God said, let there be a firmament. Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. So everybody say, there's waters below the firmament, and above. So God divided them. What is that? Well, what's the below? That's our oceans, our rivers and lakes and streams, and the great deep that's below us. So there's those waters. Then He said He made a firmament. And we'll find out what that fully means in just a second. But He said there's waters now above it. He divided. So everybody say the firmament, is a divider. Right? And it was so, and God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said that the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and that the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters He called seas, and saw that it was good. So He shows us that the earth and the waters down here, there's the waters below the firmament, there's the waters above the firmament. Now let's look at the word here. People can tell me I'm crazy. These Christians out here that don't like me can tell me I'm crazy, but I can tell you this much. You got to deal with these words. I'm not making this stuff up. This is Bible. You believe the Bible, you don't. The word firmament in the Hebrew is this word rakia. Rakia, and it means, in the Strong's here it says, an expanse, the firmament, or the visible arch of the sky. Now think about that. Can you see the visible arch of the sky right now? Yet the Hebrews said it was the visible arch of the sky. The root word is rakah. Rakia. And it means here to pound the earth as a sign of passion, but it means to expand by hammering, to overlay with thin sheets of metal. So the picture is that God, when He created the firmament, that He pounded out something that was solid, like stretching out metal. But you think about it, it had to be something solid, because if it was going to support waters above it, it had to be solid, right? Now remember, they tell us in outer space there's no water, right? That's the big quest, in NASA. They're looking for water everywhere. Let me just say, they can't go into outer space. That's all a lie. But we'll do that. Okay? So it's something hard. Does this bear out in other translations of the Bible? Let's look at some translations here as well. This is Genesis 1, 6, and 7 in the complete Jewish Bible. Look what it says here. It says, God said, let there be a dome in the middle of the water. Let it divide the water from the water. And God made the dome and divided the water under the dome from the water that is above the dome. That is how it was. Is this what it says? Let's look at another translation here. Like some English Bible. And God said, let there be a vaulted dome in the midst of the waters, and let it cause a separation between the waters. So God made the vaulted dome and caused a separation between the waters which were under the vaulted dome, between the waters which were above the vaulted dome. Right? And it was so. Let's look at one more. This is the Bible in basic English. God said, let there be a solid arch. Now this is a very correct interpretation of the word rakia. Okay? God said, let there be a solid arch stretching over the waters, parting the waters from the waters. And God made the arch for a division between the waters which were under the arch and those that were over it. And it was so. Everybody see that? The firmament, the word firmament is not just the heavens in general. That is not the interpretation, that is not the definition of the word. The word heavens, shamayim, means in general. The term rakia means the hard, solid, dome firmament. Okay? That supported waters above it. Is this Bible, everyone in here, Christians? Talk to us. Yes. Waters above, waters below. Right? Here, if you need more, if you're a theologian and you need hermeneutical references and homiletics and philosophics, here we go. Brown Driver Briggs, this is a lexicon. Here's how they break down the word rakia. Extended surface, solid, expanse, as beaten out. Right? It's something constructed. An expanse as of ice, right? Supporting God's throne. I'm going to show you this too. God is seated just above this firmament. It's beautiful. The vault of heaven or firmament, regarded by the Hebrews, all the Hebrew prophets and all the apostles, regarded by the Hebrews as solid and supporting the waters above it. So to say, folks, that there is outer space, to say that there are not waters, there's not a firmament, a solid firmament and waters, we are going against what every Hebrew prophet from Moses and back to Job and Enoch and all of them believed. And I was thinking about it today. When Jesus came on the scene, when the Messiah came on the scene, God became flesh and dwelt among us. He didn't go, hey guys, you got it wrong. It's really a ball. It's not flat and it's not covered. You guys got it wrong. No. I really shook up a Christian when I started talking this. I said, Paul believed the earth was flat. The Apostle Paul. Oh, well, I'm sorry. They didn't have NASA to tell. And here, let me say this real quick. People have said to you, how do you know it's flat? Well, if I believe my eyes, what my eyes tell me. Right? But how many of us have been in a rocket ship, or we've been up high enough to see? So let me tell you something. Unless you have been an astronaut, right? You can't tell me that you know it's a ball. You only know it's a ball because somebody told you. So you're putting your faith and trust in them. You can't prove it to me. When I say prove it's flat, I go out and prove it's flat. Can you prove it's a ball? No, you can't. But we have a space shuttle. Yeah. I'm going to show you how the space shuttle never goes into outer space, that it flies around the dome. I'll show you that. Let's look at this verse, Job 38:17. I know this is a little bit of a refresher for those of you with us last time. Job 38:17 gives you even more revelation about the firmament. And here's what it says. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, or the rakia is the Hebrew word, which is strong as a molten looking glass. It is strong as molten glass. See, everybody, what did we just learn? We learned that God created a firmament that is solid. Now we find out that it is strong as molten glass. And we found out, the Bible teaches, that there's waters above this firmament. So the age-old question that every child asks their parents, why is the sky blue? Because on the other side of the glass is water. It's beautiful. It's perfect. Is that Bible or is that Pastor Dean? It's Bible. Here's the word spread out, which is interesting. God has spread out the sky. He spread out the rakia. The word spread out is that word again, raka, meaning to beat out like you would hammer out metal. To expand or beat out metal. Here's an illustration of that right here, the hammering out of a metal into a dome shape. You see that right there? This is what God did when He made the firmament. He hammered out molten metal-like glass, and He put it over the earth, and He divided the waters from the waters above, waters below. But it's also see-through, partially. I think it's very interesting. Scripture came to me today where Paul said we see through a glass darkly. Some beautiful things. The word strong in this passage, when it says that God has made the sky strong, the firmament, the dome, strong, guess what it means? Strong, hard, harder, stiff, not weak. You know what NASA tells us? They tell us that the atmosphere, the firmament, or what holds our atmosphere is very thin, very gassy. It's interesting, if it's so thin and it's just a little bit of gas, why it nearly burns up the shuttle, allegedly, as it comes back in. Right? It's funny, I saw a picture the other day. It showed, you know, when the old capsules, remember back in the Apollo days, when the old capsules would come back down through the atmosphere and the bottom would heat up red, you know, just molten red. The bottom of the shuttles, the capsule, the astronaut's capsule coming down with a parachute into the ocean, and it's just come through the atmosphere, and it's just molten red, about to melt, about to burn the astronauts up. And it hits the water and it's steam. Just amazing. You know, I can take a pan off the stove and put it in water. The biggest liars that we got. The space agents. Let's keep going. The word molten. I'm really just breaking this down for you. Molten. Yasak is the Hebrew word here for molten in Job 38:17. And it means to pour out, to melt or cast metal. Y'all see that? So God said he cast this thing like metal. Now, here's Josephus, the Jewish historian. So we're going all the way back to 1st, 2nd century historians of Jewish faith and culture and history. And look what he says. This is what he says. This is the historian Josephus in 38 AD to, he lived past 100 AD. So first century historian. In book 1, I have this book. I've had this book for about 30 years. He says, chapter 1 entitled The Constitution of the World and the Disposition of the Elements, Josephus wrote, "And this, on the second day, he, God, placed the heaven over the whole world and separated it from the other parts. And he determined that it should stand by itself. He also placed a crystalline firmament round it, and put together in manner agreeable to the earth, and fitted it for giving moisture and rain, and for affording advantage of dews. On the fourth day he adorned the heaven with the sun and the moon and the other stars, and appointed them their courses, that the vicissitudes of the seasons might be clear and signified." Just so you know I'm not lying to you, what does it say here? It's the Greek word kateko, and it means to hold down, right? To hold fast, to keep, to withhold. You see that? That's from the Strong's. Now let's go to the original creation here. Genesis chapter 1. Maybe we'll go there. Here we go. Genesis 1 through 10. Let's just read it this morning. This is the man who spearheaded the agency called NASA that lies to us with all their Freemason astronauts. On his tombstone, it says Wernher von Braun, and it says underneath it Psalms 19:1. He knew the firmament. And I'm going to tell you, I believe he and others had seen it. In fact, this morning I'm going to show you a picture of it from 1928. They are without excuse. They know it exists. Because that when they knew God, they glorified Him not as God, neither were thankful, but they became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools who changed the truth of God into a lie. It's flat. No, it's a ball. They know it's not a ball. The ones that are really up high up, they know it's not. I'm going to show you. The Illuminati, the Satanists, the high, the elites, they control the media and television and movies. They actually put it in their movies and just mock us. They mock us. They know the truth. It says they worship and serve the creature more than Creator, who are blessed forever. Amen. Just so you know, here's the Greek word when it says the men who hold the truth. So that they are without excuse. So these men know the truth. They hide it from you. It's interesting, the Nazi scientist whom we took to form our rockets and create NASA, Mr. von Braun, Wernher von Braun, on his tombstone,